4,090 times. That is how many times Kim Gongja stabbed himself to death, not over years, not in separate lifetimes, in a single unbroken sequence of deliberate self-destruction. Dying, rewinding 24 hours, dying again, rewinding again, 4,090 consecutive deaths, each one accompanied by the full, undiminished sensation of a blade entering his own body. He did this because it was the only way to travel far enough back in time to kill the most powerful hunter in the world before the man became untouchable. This is SSS-Class Revival Hunter. The protagonist is not a hero who rises through training, destiny, or divine favor. He is a bitter, envious failure who acquires the ability to steal power from the dead, and then builds an empire on the foundation of his own repeated corpses. Welcome back to the Manhwa Recap Vault. SSS-Class Revival Hunter, originally published under the title SSS-Class Suicide Hunter, is one of those rare series that takes a premise that sounds like edgy shock value and transforms it into something genuinely profound. The copy mechanic alone would carry a decent power fantasy, the regression adds strategic depth, but the reason this series has 400 completed novel chapters and a manhwa that has run for 4 seasons on Tapas is something else entirely. It is the character writing. Today we are covering the opening arcs, and I need you to understand something before we start. This story is not what you think it is. The tower appeared on Earth without explanation. 100 floors, monsters, traps, challenges, and rewards that reshape the humans who climb it. The strongest climbers, hunters, become celebrities, power brokers, and something approaching gods. The tower is not just a dungeon, it is the new social hierarchy. Those who climb it matter. Those who do not are irrelevant. Kim Gongja is irrelevant. He is an F-rank hunter, the lowest classification. He's been in the tower for years and has never progressed beyond the first floor. He does not have the talent, the skills, the connections, or the combat ability to climb. He is, in practical terms, a janitor, grinding the same low-level monsters on the same floor, watching better hunters walk past him toward glory, accumulating nothing except a profound and corrosive envy. The manhwa does not romanticize this. Gongja is not a sympathetic underdog waiting for his moment. He is genuinely pathetic, a man consumed by jealousy of people who have earned their success through talent and effort that he does not possess. He follows the exploits of the tower's rank 1 hunter, the Flame Emperor, Yusuha, with the obsessive devotion of a fan and the quiet bitterness of someone who knows he will never be in the same category. He is an orphan. He has no family, no friends, no relationships outside the tower. His entire identity is wrapped up in a world where he is the least important person in the building. And then the tower gives him a skill. Not through merit, not through achievement, through the one thing Gongja has in abundance: envy. His jealousy of the Flame Emperor is so intense, so consuming, so pathologically complete that the tower's system recognizes it as a qualifying emotional state and rewards him with an S+ skill card. And the skill is called, I want to become just like you. Its mechanic is simple. When someone kills Kim Gongja, he can copy one of their skills at random. He stares at the description, he reads it twice and then he laughs, because the skill requires him to die to activate. It is, from every practical angle, the most useless ability in the tower, a skill that only works when you are dead, awarded to a man who has nothing to live for. It is the cruelest joke the system has ever played, and it is about to become the most dangerous ability in the world. The Flame Emperor, Yusuha, is the tower's greatest hunter, rank 1, universally admired, the kind of figure that inspires legends and loyalty in equal measure. He is also a murderer. Gongja witnesses it by accident. He is in the wrong place at the wrong time, a fitting summary of his entire life, and sees the Flame Emperor kill the Saintess, not in combat, not in self-defense, a deliberate, calculated murder carried out in secret, motivated by reasons that the early chapters do not fully explain. Gongja sees it. The Flame Emperor sees Gongja see it. Gongja begs. He promises silence. He pleads for his life with the desperate sincerity of a man who has nothing worth dying for. Yusuha kills him anyway, casually, without hesitation, because Gongja is an F-rank nobody and the Flame Emperor does not leave witnesses. And in the moment of Gongja's death, his S+ skill activates. I want to become just like you. Selects a random skill from his killer's repertoire and copies it. The skill it copies is Returner's Clockwork Watch. An EX rank ability, the Flame Emperor's signature power, the reason he is untouchable, and the reason no one has ever been able to stop him. It is a regression skill. Every time its holder dies, they are sent back in time exactly 24 hours with all memories intact. Kim Gongja wakes up 24 hours before his own murder, alive, furious, and holding the copied regression ability of the most powerful hunter in the world. But here is where the story reveals its actual premise, and it is not what you expect. Gongja does not use the regression to avoid the Flame Emperor and live a quiet life. He does not use it to train and slowly grow stronger. He recognizes something that the skill description implies but does not state outright. If he dies again, he goes back another 24 hours, and again and again. Each death is another day rewound. Each regression stacks. The Flame Emperor obtained his regression skill years ago. If Gongja wants to kill Yusuha permanently, before the man ever acquired the ability to regress, he needs to travel back over a decade. 24 hours per death over 10 years into the past. The mathematics are nauseating. 4,090 deaths, 4,090 stab wounds, self-inflicted, each one experienced in full. Not a montage, not a skip. The Manhwa makes you understand the weight of that number. The mechanical repetition of a man killing himself over and over and over, enduring the physical agony of each death and the psychological penalty of his regression skill, which forces him to relive the trauma of every death he has experienced. Gongja does not flinch. He gives himself an extra 40 regressions beyond the minimum, breathing room to research the Flame Emperor's habits in the past and plan the perfect execution. When he finally arrives 11 years before the present, he finds Yusuha young, arrogant, and not yet possessing the regression skill that will make him invincible. Gongja lures him into a trap, feigns injury, asks for help, and when the young Flame Emperor approaches, already showing the cruelty that will define his future self, demanding payment before offering aid, Gongja strikes. The rank 1 hunter of the future dies in an alley, killed by a man who does not exist yet, using a method that requires absolutely no combat skill whatsoever. The most powerful hunter in the world, eliminated by the weakest, not through superior technique, but through superior suffering. With the Flame Emperor dead in the past, the tower's hierarchy reshuffles. Gongja now exists in a timeline where the rank 1 position is vacant, where history will unfold differently and where he still possesses both his copy skill and the stolen regression ability. But he is still, fundamentally, an F-rank hunter with no combat ability. The skills he has are powerful in concept, but useless in execution if he cannot fight. Regression lets him rewind, copying lets him steal. Neither teaches him how to swing a sword. The solution arrives through another death, because in this story death is not an ending, it is a transaction. Gongja encounters the Sword Emperor, Bai Hu Ryong, and is killed by him. His copy skill activates and steals one of Bai Hu Ryong's abilities, specifically, a skill that manifests the Sword Emperor as a ghost companion, a spectral consciousness that only Gongja can see and hear, carrying the accumulated wisdom of a hunter who conquered 99 of the tower's 100 floors. Bai Hu Ryong becomes Gongja's mentor, and their dynamic is the beating heart of the series. The Sword Emperor is arrogant, theatrical, and deeply entertained by the absurdity of his new situation, a ghost tethered to the talentless F-rank hunter who kills himself regularly as a strategic tactic. Their conversations are sharp, combative, and genuinely funny in a way that most manhwa-mentor relationships never achieve. There is banter, there are insults, there are running jokes that build across dozens of chapters. But beneath the comedy there is something real. Bai Hu Ryong recognizes in Gongja a quality that he has never encountered before, an absolute indifference to death. Not bravery, not recklessness, a pragmatic acceptance that dying is simply part of his toolkit. The Sword Emperor, who spent his entire life mastering the art of not dying, is fascinated by a man who has made dying his primary strategy. He teaches Gongja swordsmanship, aura manipulation, the fundamentals of combat that Gongja never learned during his years as the tower's most invisible resident. Gongja's talent for aura, the Sword Emperor notes with some surprise, is actually greater than his talent for the sword itself. An unusual combination that suggests the F-rank classification never reflected Gongja's actual potential, only his lack of opportunity. The training is brutal and the progress is slow, because the story refuses to let the copy mechanic replace genuine skill development. Gongja learns the Sword of Starvation, the Sword of Thirst, the Sword of Drowning, techniques with names that carry the weight of deprivation, fitting for a man who spent years starving for relevance. Each form is earned through repetition, failure, and the Sword Emperor's constant theatrical criticism. Bei is not a patient teacher, he is a demanding one, and the juxtaposition between his arrogant, larger-than-life personality and the quiet determination of his student creates a dynamic that carries the emotional weight of the entire middle act. And as Gongja grows stronger, the tower begins to notice him, not because of his combat prowess, which remains modest compared to the top-ranked hunters, but because of his pattern, a hunter who dies repeatedly, who copies abilities from the dead, who uses regression to optimize outcomes across multiple timelines. The tower's system has never processed a climber like this. Kim Gongja is not climbing the tower the way it was designed to be climbed, he's speedrunning it, dying to copy regression to optimize, approaching each floor not as a challenge to overcome but as a puzzle to be solved through meta-knowledge accumulated across thousands of deaths. The tower's floors are not generic dungeons. Each one is a self-contained narrative, a pocket dimension with its own rules, its own society, and its own version of suffering. This is where SSS-Class Revival Hunter distinguishes itself from every other tower climbing manhwa in existence. The 10th floor is widely regarded as one of the most emotionally devastating arcs in the medium, a challenge that tests not combat ability but psychological endurance, forcing hunters to confront scenarios designed to break them through emotional manipulation rather than physical violence. Gongja clears it, but the clearing costs him something internal that the manhwa does not let you ignore. The 11th floor shifts genre entirely. Military strategy, battlefield command, a challenge that requires Gongja to lead soldiers alongside a general named Sarbast, in what amounts to a war simulation with real casualties. He earns the discernment of the battlefield skill, and a holy sword for ranking first in the floor's clearing. But the ranking matters less than what the floor reveals about Gongja's leadership instincts, which are more developed than anyone, including Gongja himself, expected. Later floors push further. Floors 31 through 40 transform the challenge into a civilization game. Top-ranked hunters play as constellations, guiding their chosen race to dominance across key historical periods. Each floor eliminates one hunter until a single race stands supreme. The scale is vast, the politics are layered, and the strategic requirements are fundamentally different from anything the tower has demanded before. These floors are not about individual combat, they're about vision, the ability to think across centuries, to make decisions whose consequences will not manifest for generations. And Gongja, the man who has experienced more resets than any other living hunter, turns out to have an intuitive understanding of long-term consequences that his competitors cannot match. When you have died 4,000 times, you develop a particular relationship with the concept of permanence. And through it all, Gongja's copy mechanic creates a power scaling dynamic that the genre has never seen. He does not train to grow stronger in the conventional sense, he acquires. Each death near him is an opportunity, each enemy defeated is a potential skill to absorb. His repertoire expands not through effort but through proximity to mortality, and since Gongja has made death his closest companion, his repertoire expands faster than any other hunter in the tower. The heavenly demon herself, encountered on the 22nd floor, teaches him the demonic heavenly god art, not through his copy skill but through genuine instruction. The distinction matters. Gongja does not merely collect abilities, he learns them. He understands them. The copy skill is the shortcut, the understanding is the substance. And then there is Raviel. Raviel Ivanzia enters the story during the later tower floors. And what develops between her and Gongja is not a standard manhwa romance. It is a relationship built across regression loops. A love story where the woman he cares about can only remember him because Gongja deliberately exploited a tower system error to grant her persistence across timelines. She remembers him when no one else does. She knows what he has sacrificed when no one else can. Their relationship is widely considered one of the best romance subplots in the entire action manhwa genre. And the reason is simple. It is earned through suffering, not proximity. SSS-Class Revival Hunter should not work. The premise is gratuitous. A protagonist who kills himself thousands of times, who copies abilities from corpses, who manipulates timelines through self-inflicted death. It reads like a list of shock value mechanics designed to generate clicks. It works because the story treats every death as a cost, not a spectacle. Gongja does not enjoy dying. The regression skill imposes a penalty. Each death forces him to relive the trauma of being killed, and the severity scaling based on his rank. The higher he climbs, the worse each death becomes. His power scales up, and the price of that power scales with it. There is no free lunch in this system, there is only suffering traded for advantage. And the story never lets you forget the weight of that trade. The 4,000 deaths Gongja endured to travel back in time are not a statistic the narrative discards after the opening arc. They are a scar. The psychological residue of killing yourself 4,000 times does not wash away because the strategy worked. Gongja carries it in the way he approaches pain, in the way he evaluates risk, in the flatness of his reaction when situations that would terrify any normal person barely register as inconvenient. He is not fearless, he is desensitized. And the distinction matters because the story treats desensitization not as a superpower but as the wound. The original novel by Nido was published under the title SSS-Class Suicide Hunter and is complete at 400 chapters across 16 volumes. The manhwa adaptation by Kim Mintaka ran for 4 seasons on Tapas, reaching 151 chapters before entering hiatus between Season 4 and Season 5. The title was officially changed to SSS-Class Revival Hunter for the manhwa release. What I've covered today barely scratches the surface of it. The tower has 100 floors. Gongja and the Sword Emperor reach the 99th, where it is revealed that Beihu Rong's true body has been trapped within his sanctuary for an untold number of years, and that he and Gongja are each other's keys to entering the 100th floor. The endgame transforms both characters into something beyond hunters, constellations, pillars of the tower itself. But the journey to that point is 400 chapters of a man who started as the most envious, most pathetic, most invisible person in the building, who climbed to the top by doing the one thing no other hunter was willing to do. He died, over and over, and he made every death count. SSS-Class Revival Hunter is available on Tapas, where the manhwa has completed 4 seasons at 151 chapters. Season 5 is anticipated. The original novel by Nido is completed at 400 chapters and fully translated. If you want a tower climbing story where the protagonist's most powerful weapon is not a sword, not a skill, not a system, but his willingness to die more times than any sane person would consider, this is the one. The copy mechanic is the hook, the regression is the engine, but the character writing is the reason that you stay. A janitor, a ghost, a tower with 100 floors and 100 different ways to break a human being. So subscribe if you want to be here when we cover the later arcs, because what happens on floor 99 is something I am not prepared to spoil today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next recap.